You can increase detection depth by increasing your gain above the triangle into the +1, +2 category. As you increase to these higher settings, the detector does become more jumpy, more unstable, more noise that you have to interpret. At some point, though, you may also get an overload indication, which is a blaring. The blaring indicates over the entire ground that you're too high for the ground minerals in that area, and you have to reduce your gain control to get away from that overloading or blaring. Now, if it's only overloading or blaring over one isolated spot, it's probably a large target, and you'd want to just sweep your loop a little higher over that target and see if it might be of interest. Again, if your gain is too high for the area, you get a blaring over the whole entire ground. If it's blaring over just one isolated spot, it's probably a very large metal target. Sweep the loop a little higher and see what the detector says on the display as to whether it might still be of interest. The ground balance and tracking on the MXT is so quick, you almost don't even notice it. It's almost instantaneous. If it's ground balanced, you can pump the search coil over the ground and the threshold doesn't change. If it's not balanced, it'll change for the first 3 or 4 pumps and then it'll smooth out and it'll be balanced. So in either the ground or the salt position, pump the search coil a couple times, the threshold stabilizes, you're ground balanced and ready to go, and it'll track continually to changes. Again, now this can be why it is difficult when it gets into peculiar ground with sporadic spots of high mineral. The tracking can be climbing up and down so quickly it can cause instability. In those areas, you would first pump the search coil a couple times, then go to the lock setting on the ground control, and it should stabilize for that entire area. The MXT series has been an extremely successful product for White's Electronics. We listen to our customers though, and there's some things about MXT that customers have been asking for, and that's why we developed the MXT Pro. The MXT Pro comes with the 12-inch search coil that's going to go deeper. It's also going to be a little more difficult to use though in public areas where you have a lot of targets close together. A smaller accessory coil does better in public areas where there's lots of targets close together. The bigger loop's going to do better in residential yards, beaches, where you've got more open area and less concentrations of targets close together. But the 12-inch will go deeper. The MXT Pro also sports the new flat black paint, low mar, low smudge. It has 3 significant new features: tone ID, ground grab, and a backlight, which all 3 things customers have really been asking for, and this MXT Pro is the response to that. Tone ID gives you different options depending on whether you're in the coin and jewelry, relic, or prospecting mode. In coin and jewelry, you have a traditional 7-tone tone ID. The higher the targets are on the VDI scale, the higher the pitch of the sound. And that's so as you get upscale, you get your higher pitch sounds. As you get downscale, you get your lower pitch sounds. And targets that are rejected by the discriminator are suppressed and don't give you a tone. But basically it immediately alerts you to whereabouts it is on the scale. A high silver giving you the highest tone, your target's lower on the scale giving you your lower tone. So that's the option in coin and jewelry. Now as you go to relic, you have a different set of options. You have tone 1, tone 2, and iron ID. Iron ID disables the dual control, which is your discriminate adjustment. In iron ID, your iron targets give you your lower pitch sound. Everything that's not iron gives you the higher pitch sound. And that's the option for that particular feature. Now if I press tone ID and go to the 1 tone, what I get is targets above the discrimination setting give me the high sound. Targets below the discrimination setting are suppressed, so they're not going to be heard. And that's why it's called 1 tone. The high tone is of interest, everything else is not. Now if I press the tone ID feature again, going to the 2 tone, what I get is targets above the discrimination level give me the high sound. Targets below the discrimination setting give me the lower sound. So by selecting my discrimination control setting, I can decide which target classes give me the low sound and which target classes give me the high sound. In the prospecting mode, the tone ID feature gives me the iron grunt, turns on or off iron grunt. When iron grunt is off, all targets pretty much have the same pitch with the VCO added to that. With iron grunt on, targets that are sure to be iron give me a specific grunting sound. Targets that are not sure to be iron give you more of a zip zip sound. So it makes obvious targets that are really not going to be worth checking out. Targets that are sure to be iron give me a specific grunting sound. Now the tone ID options will always come up to their preset levels in on-off cycles, but it's easy enough just to press the tone button if you'd like to change that.